Welcome to Makers International, a podcast of makers from 3 countries, 2 continents, and featuring 5 guys separated only by the same language. Here's your host, Richard Morley.
Hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning. I've completely messed it up. How is everyone, whatever the time is? Joined with me, as always, we have Mr. Chris Cute.
What's going on?
It's the pre-show conversations. It's just completely messed me up tonight. Alan, are you with us or not?
Oh, how you doing, fellas?
Excellent. Joe?
You're right, Tom, yeah.
Brilliant. And as always, Jamie, I've been busy doing other stuff. I'm sure you did something hilarious during the week, so we'll just make reference to that. It's Jamie Page.
I was playing with my balls. Hello.
See, I knew it'd be something. Excellent. We've actually got with us a couple of extras this evening. So a big hello to Carol Kolinowski, KK Mate. How are you getting on, buddy?
Hello, I'm fine, thanks.
Excellent. No problem at all. We will be right back with yourself in just a minute to explain your presence. With Jason McGinn, you're with us as well?
I think so.
Excellent, good stuff. Well, we'll come back to you to the reason you're here and the reason you are skulking in the background for the first 5 minutes, but we'll do our shout-outs as normal. Very quickly, we have Ian Brady-Smith, Anthony Tober, Chapnell Makes, Jim Crawl, KK Make, Carol, thank you. Andrew McQuillan, M. Saban Smith Wood Turning. I think that's a new commenter, but hello anyway. Know What Mum Knows, Crosscut Creations, Shogun Jimmy, Anthony Tober, and Wacky Woodworks. I didn't actually check, but I'm going to assume, Jason, that you made a comment on our SoundCloud version, because you normally do. We just kind of take it as read that you have for the last 40 episodes.
Jason, he doesn't know. Just say yes. Just say yes, even if you didn't.
Yes. Yes,
yeah,
I did.
Cool. If you haven't, just like nip across there, make a comment, and no one will know by the time this actually goes out as an audio podcast. So don't forget, if you are listening still 3 minutes in, you can rate us, comment. We love hearing from all our listeners on various platforms, which Jamie will go into great laborious depth towards the end of the show as to what they are, and probably make sure they're in the notes as well. So, Chris, do we have any random listener questions this week before we dive in with our topic?
I do. But before we get into that, I want to go ahead and throw it over to my buddy Alan, because I think we all want to. Well, Alan, just you take it, buddy. Go ahead.
Thank you. I just wanted to take a minute to talk about our very good friend, very important man in our community, Mr. Ragtie. He just had a double surgery, and he pulled through it wonderfully. I spoke with his wife fairly briefly, and she had said, minus the profanity, his last words were, "This disease doesn't know what it's screwing with." So we here just wanted to give him,
some major love. Yeah. Just say get better soon, man. Because I mean, Ragtie is a pillar in the community. If you don't know who he is, he just is very supportive and very loving. So yeah, Alan, thank you for that. I mean, because he's a good guy.
Yes,
yeah, it's really good to
bailing me out of that microphone fail.
Definitely.
Anyone that's going to go through something like that from anyone, regardless of who they are, they need to, a little bit of love, because actually it just kind of makes the world a nicer place, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Well, we just wanted to make sure we said that, and thank you, Alan, for that, because I mean, yeah, absolutely, Ragtie's a great guy. As far as the questions that we had last week, let me think. I actually wrote this down. See, guys, I have like paper.
What paper? What's
Chris
that?
has paper.
What's that? I'm old school. What do you want?
I was going to say, dude, it's 2017.
Well, I could get my phone, but never mind.
It doesn't work.
Anyway, yeah, exactly. And Andrew McQuillan had a question from last week's show, and Alan, is directed at you. So prepare yourself, my friend. Alan wanted to know, he says, Alan, and he was talking about when you were, because last week's episode was about PPE, and he said, and you had mentioned that you kind of locked the door in your shop because you don't want any surprises with the kids walking and stuff. And he just kind of was like, well, that's a good idea. But Alan, does your wife have a key to one of the doors of your workshop? Because if not, then how is she going to get into you if there's an emergency? So I guess He just wants to know if your wife has access and your kids don't.
That's a good question. And my wife and I did discuss that. She does have a key to the one shop door, and my cell phone is always in my pocket. But we did go over that scenario. I remember she's like, "What if you cut your arm off or something? You can't even make a call. Then what?" And I was like, "Well, it's not all that likely. Just call 911. We're gonna make it."
Okay, so she can get to you if she has to. All right,
she can get to me. Yes,
Richard, that was it. That's all I had for this week.
Excellent. So, what? Who's going to introduce the topic tonight? Because it won't be me. What's the topic?
I'll be happy to, since everybody else seems to be muted. We were initially going to start the show off talking about Festool and Sawstop, and we will get to that topic. But we want to talk about the formation of the new Facebook group and why that came to be and how it came to be and why it exists and why it will still continue to exist. So if you want to go from there, Richard, go for it.
Yes, basically that's pretty much why I had no idea what was going on, because I had two things to think about, and anyone that knows me knows that that's one too many things. So but essentially, where are we going to start with the group? How it happened and what was going on with that? It's probably a good.
Yeah, I mean, if you want me to be the bad guy, if you want me to be the gentleman who explains everything, I can kind of try to sort of do it, and if I get something wrong, you guys can correct me. Would you like me to do that? I created the group. I guess so. It was probably down to me because I sort of took the bull by the horns. Then you're the one to blame. So then
absolutely,
you do it.
I'll take it on the chin, as I generally have to. I woke up whichever morning it was, kind of 8 o'clock in the morning UK time, and there was an alert that one of the Facebook groups that I was a member of had been archived, and I wasn't able to kind of interact on it. And my first thought was, what's going on here? I was a bit confused, blah, blah, blah. And then I think Joe might have stirred in his bed, and because Chris, you're on UK time most of the time anyway. I'm looking at it trying to go, what's going on? And we're talking in the sort of our podcast environment about what's happened. Does anyone know? And I know previous to that, I'd been thinking about putting a group together for routing, because I know, a niche group within woodworking to sort of get people with that passion in one place and talking. And I just went, do you know what? There's a group now, because that was like 10,000, 11,000 people were in that group.
Right.
And if everyone's in that same boat as me, not knowing what's going on, unable to kind of work out what the plan is, a bit unsure, they might just end up drifting off and not having anywhere to go. So I just went, do you know what? I'll just start this group. And I basically picked half of the name that was the podcast and the other half that was from the other group. And that was that. So that's where we are. So we've got, 500 some odd, lots of people, and loads of people are just constantly having massive conversations that I get totally lost in. So and Richard, what I wanted to say about that was, because I mean, Joe was privy to the conversation, because it was Joe, Richard, and I in the wee hours of the morning, at least in the U.S. time, because I think it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, 2:30 in the morning when we noticed it. Yeah, when we noticed this happened, and we started talking, and then an hour later we decided to do it. And unbeknownst to us, somebody else was awake at that ungodly hour too and started their own group. And it was Russ Clarity. And God love the man, because he saw the same thing we did. He saw a group of 10,000 people all of a sudden go away. And I think if I know Russ well enough, then I know what he did. He looked at it the same way we did. He said, well, that's just not good. I mean, this is 10,000 people within our community that are no longer going to be served. I'm going to do something about that. And so he did. And so he started a group at the same time we did. And we didn't know he was doing it. He didn't know we were doing it. It just kind of happened at the same time. So a lot of people that, don't wake up at the ungodly hours that we do, at least in the U.S., we're really confused. They were like, what the heck is up with all these groups? And what we were trying to do is we were just trying to fill a space within the community when we did what we did, because we just saw something that we didn't think was right, and we wanted to change that. And so I want to explain why the existence of both of those groups popped up. I mean, Russ's group, I believe, is called Woodworkers and Makers on YouTube. And if you go to Facebook and type that into your little search on Facebook, you'll be able to find Russ's group. And I would encourage you to go join it, because, I mean, there's a lot of quality people over there from what I understand. But at the same time, we started our own group.
which is called Makers on YouTube. So we really, I mean, if you look at the two names of the groups, I mean, we really both had the same exact idea at the exact same time. We just didn't know that each other were doing it. That's all. And so I wanted to just kind of help people understand why all these groups all of a sudden showed up. And, you know, we're not competing with each other. God love us. You know, let the internet's a big place, man. So you do what you want to do. We'll do what we want to do. We were just trying to fill a hole in the community that we thought was being left empty, and trying to do a good thing.
Not to mention with two, there's a better chance of catching things, you know, because there's a lot going by on the stream. So if you miss it on one, maybe you'll catch it on the other.
Exactly. And you know what? This would be a good time to introduce Jason and Carol and why they're here. Jason is an admin in our group, Makers on YouTube, and Carol is a moderator in our group too. So we wanted to get together today and just kind of explain ourselves and what happened, because there seemed to be a lot of confusion within the community as to why some things had happened. And, you know, I don't know what to say about this, except that, you know, if the initial group had never been shut down, we wouldn't be sitting here talking about this today. But it did, and we all are trying to do the right thing. And I hope that's understood. So that's all I have to say about it.
That's pretty much the same thing. I mean, from my point of view, I struggled to see how, well, not struggle, but at the time, it didn't occur to me, because I'm seeing all the kind of, I kind of wish I didn't do it, because I was getting alert after alert after alert on my phone, was just going absolutely crazy all morning. By the time I got to lunchtime, it needed a battery charge, because I've got all these alerts coming in all the time. But of course, at the time, I'm seeing all these alerts. It wasn't until, for me, mid-morning that I started seeing alerts, because I got invited by the other group to join their group as well, and they must have got alerts the same thing and all the rest of it. But of course, for you guys in the States that are 5 hours behind, at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning when this is all happening, you're asleep. So you then wake up to go to work, and I can only imagine how people's Facebook alert thing, it must have been just like 1 million plus. Loads.
Yeah.
It's like, I've given up, crazy. You just go and look at Facebook.
Well, yeah, well, there's a lot of people going, WTF? What is going on? And so, and unfortunately, we didn't have until today to explain what had happened. So there you go. You know.
Yeah, that's quite cool anyway. So that's why we've got Jason and Carl. I think it fits really well, because between the I can't count the all of us, we span what, 5 or 6 hours of time zones. We've got pretty much half the time zones covered. So if there's anything going on, I think we should be able to capture that, or, you know, get it sorted or whatever with the way we've spread
Any
things around.
sunglasses sales going on at like 2 o'clock in the morning UK.
We'll be in.
We've got some Canadians to catch up.
Yeah, do you want to know where to get a cheap pair of Ray-Bans? I can hook you up.
Yeah, definitely. That'll be
I didn't understand what Joe just said. Carol, can you translate for us?
I speak a different English than all of you anyway. I can cover another hour when I will be in Poland, so there's another time zone over there. So
there you go.
Exactly. I think we.
No, this is funny, because I mean, the American needs the Polish guy to translate what the British guy just said, and the British guy needs him too. So that's kind of funny.
Honestly.
we love you, Carol.
English is an amazing language. I love all the.
Or just go. You have to. You haven't got much choice. You like it or lump it.
All you need is a Scottish guy on the podcast, and then you'll be full. You know.
We should get Neil McKinley on.
Oh, he's amazing. I would love his channels. Neil,
if you, I doubt you listen to us. You've probably got important things to do. But yeah, come along. That'd be awesome. We'll have you on the show any day of the week, as long as it's Sunday when we do it normally, of course. Right. So I think we've pretty much covered the Facebook group thing, haven't we? Someone will sort some links out for stuff like that. Everyone's welcome. It'll be fun.
Yeah, and you know, and like I said, if what we have going on doesn't fit you, then go visit Russ's group, because that's a great group as well. There's also the I Like to Make Stuff group, which is a private group, but I mean, you can ask to join it. And I do believe that since that we did this, the Woodworkers on YouTube has been unarchived, so that's actually active again. So we actually, everything that we did was almost kind of for naught, but we didn't know that at the time.
That's the thing. I think one of the biggest problems that stood out to me was that wasn't the first time the Woodworkers on YouTube group had been closed. If it was the first time, I think it would have been more like what's going on? Let's wait it out. But it had been closed a lot of times, and there's a lot of people there. I know I'd got posts that I needed to reply to, and those people I'm just left in the lurch as if I'm not reacting to them. So I'm glad that we made the group. At least we know it's always going to be there. It will always be open, and it's just a place for everyone.
Sure,
Awesome.
and of course, as Chris has already said, if you don't, for whatever reason, and we hope you do, enjoy the group and you want to move on to the other group, there's the Woodworkers and Makers on YouTube. There's also the Woodworking UK Facebook group. There is the Festools Talk group. There is the Woodworking for the Rest of Us group. There is the Woodworkers Around the Globe. There is the Woodworker, the list literally goes on. So I'm sure there'll be people out there that have never heard of some of those groups, but there is something for everyone, and anyone that wants to come and join us, you're welcome.
There is a Woodworking Europe group as well.
And yes, there's Peter's group, Woodworking Europe, and there's just loads of stuff. Fill your boots on Facebook with woodworking.
Well, wait a minute, because we're sorely lacking here. Alan, Jason, is there a Woodworkers for Canada group? Because if there's not, opportunity. Ding, ding.
I'll leave it for Jason, but I want to say no.
I think you qualify for the Woodworking for the Rest of Us.
It's called Woodworking Insane.
Woodworking, eh?
Woodworking, sorry.
Sorry, eh?
Awesome.
I love it. Woodworkinga.com.
I'm the only member.
Right, should we get on to this other topic then? Because we're going to run out of time otherwise, and poor Joe's just going to have a meltdown.
Let's
Come on, speed it up.
Okay, so Tool, is it Tooltechnic, TTS, TTC, the Festools parent group, I think, has bought Sawstop. I think that's probably a good thing. So thanks for listening, everyone. What does everyone else think? Anyone else think anything?
No, I do. And boy, there has been a lot of reaction throughout the community about what this may or may not mean. And I think there are several key things, and I'll let you guys that are in Europe chime in on what probably is the biggest question there. But I think the biggest question that I've seen is, oh, gee, well, I guess the Sawstop's never going to become, more affordable to buy. And, because people associate Festool with expensive tools, and then, most people will associate with Sawstop being an expensive saw. And yes, that's true. But you have to remember that the sale went to the parent company of Festool, not to Festool. So
yeah,
here's what I think could be, and I don't know. I mean, we don't know what the deal is, and we have no inside track here. But if TTS decides to be a little bit more liberal about licensing the technology than, let's say, the previous owners of Sawstop was, then perhaps we'll see some of the lower end brands be able to afford or pick up this licensing patent and then distribute a saw that has that feature on it. So I don't want to say that. I would like to believe that this technology will become available to the everyday guy at some point in the future, because hopefully TTS, if they're smart, will license this technology out to other companies and allow them to put it on their saws as well. Because I think Sawstop is considered a quality table saw. And so there's a difference between having a quality cabinet saw and a quality, safe, hybrid and or contractor saw. So hopefully they'll see the avenue there, and hopefully that this technology will become available to the average Joe, you and me, that don't do this professionally and don't want to spend $6,000 on well, that may be an exaggeration, but don't want to spend a ton of money on a saw. But I'll leave that up to you guys to think about. I mean, you tell me, what do you think?
I think it'd be really cool if they do that, and it gets to such a point that you could actually get a kit and put it on whatever table saw you own. To a degree, I suppose, but that would really. I think they would sell a lot more brakes. They'd sell a lot more just accessories and setups. So
definitely, I think that's a good idea to actually buy the kits, because the way I was looking at this actual situation, I mean, I'm surprised in a way that Sawstop was able to patent that technology so securely, being a safety feature. I would have thought that whatever governing body it is would want anything that's a safety improvement to be open to everybody. If you can make a tool safer, should it really be closed off to one brand only? So going down the avenue of, say, like you just said, selling add-ons that you can put onto any other brand, that would be a really good thing for Sawstop. And now, forget the parent company, but Festools parent company, to be able to do that. They're still on full rights, but it makes every other saw safer.
See, from my point of view, I mean, I've got quite a few ideas of where this potentially go, but I think the bottom line is it's a question of patents, which is an interesting thing in its own right, because actually when you patent something, you're limiting yourself in terms of time. Whatever happens, as soon as you patent that, that's got a time limit on it. And as soon as that patent has expired, it's open season. Yeah, because the whole time that in order to get the patent, you have got to have very specific, very detailed things as to what your idea is. Yeah, and that has to be in place so that I can't come along and copy that, because I've got to know what I'm copying in order for me not to copy it. That makes sense? So the way to, you've got basically the whole length of that patent to perfect your copy of it, and then you just can't do anything with it until the day the patent expires, and then you just launch straight to market. And that company's done all the work, it's done all the legwork, you've already got a group, you just come in and boom, we hit the ground running. If you want to really protect it long term or longer term, you don't put a patent on it. You make no reference to it whatsoever. You just conceal and hide what you're doing. Yeah, and that is what companies like 3M do with their masks and things like that. It's all completely top secret. There are people at 3M who work in the dust mask department who aren't allowed in the dust mask making department because it's all super secret. And if it's all a big secret, nobody knows how it's done. Yeah, it makes it more difficult, and you protect it indefinitely then. Yeah, so I think that's probably what's happened here, because if you look at the what's the big tool that everyone thinks about when they're talking about Festool other than the Domino?
It's going to be the track saw, isn't it? Track
saw, yeah. Well, you can go out now, you can buy a DeWalt track saw, a Makita track saw, you know, start just Triton, Parkside, and you can literally go down to the supermarket in the UK, pick up your baked beans and your ice cream, a two-man tent, a plastic trumpet, and a track saw. Yeah, they're everywhere. Everybody's got them. Yeah, and you know, you've still got to change from a fiver. But the point is, that's because the patent on the track saws have expired, and now the companies that actually do the manufacturing can make them for anyone. So they do. And that's been good for general public, because now you can pick up a Parkside track saw for less than 100 quid. You don't have to spend £400-500 on a Festool one. There's everything in between. And that's good for the end user. You can't argue that, but it takes time. Does that make sense? So I think eventually it will benefit people, but we won't see those benefits for quite a while yet. That's my thought.
Well, let me ask another question that has been really prevalent, especially outside of the of North America, because I believe Jason Allen, Sawstop is you could in Canada buy a Sawstop. Could you not? I mean, that is a North American product, is it not?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, well, I've never actually seen one in a store, but absolutely, you can buy them here online for sure.
Okay, well, because there's a lot of people in the EU and in the UK that apparently this saw and this technology is not available to them, and so the big question they have, because there's some folks that are actually excited about this, they want to know if it's going to become available in the EU, and I'm going to guess. And I'm guessing, because I don't friggin' know. I mean, who the heck am I? But I'm going to guess that since TTS is a German-based company, and they are going to hopefully, and who knows, you know, I don't know how many patents they actually own, but hopefully they're going to let this licensing technology be released in the UK, so that kind of safety feature will be available to people in the EU and also in the UK. I don't know that for sure, but hopefully it will. The question that I had from somebody else, and I believe it was from, let me look real quick, because I don't want to get this gentleman's name wrong, because he responded. It was a Facebook post that we made that we posed this question to people, and the gentleman's name was Lance, and he says, and I think this kind of gets into a deeper conversation. You guys let me know, but He says, I wonder if there would be any change to the dado blade availability if the Sawstop becomes available in the European markets. And my first initial answer to that is, I don't think it has to do with the manufacturer. I think it has to do with laws in place that are in the European Union. I don't know. You guys tell me. I don't live there. You fill me in.
Yeah, it would have to comply with any EU legislation that's already in place. I would say I can't see them changing a complete set of laws just for a new product that's coming to market. I mean, a few tool companies that I've spoke to when I've wanted to run giveaways, and they haven't been able to put tools forward because I want a worldwide giveaway, and they say that their tools don't reach the safety standards for different countries, because of course different countries have got different rules. So I would doubt that something like that would happen, but I would hope that, being a German parent company, that they're going to at least be able to start distribution across Europe. They're going to have access to different factories, obviously access to more funds than Sawstop did alone. So it's got to mean good things for us, I would imagine, and I would hope.
Yeah, Festool doesn't have a table saw, till now. So this is a good step for Festool as well. But I'm afraid they're gonna just repaint it and change the name to Festool Never Stops, and takes the safety out of it and sell it for top dollars or top pounds.
Well,
that actually brings us to Frank's question. Actually,
go ahead.
He says, my question to the show is, do you think that we can soon purchase a Sawstop brake in Festool cabinet saws in the future?
Richard, I'll let you take that.
I don't honestly know. It's if you look at what's actually happened here, it's the parent company that's bought either the rights or the Sawstop company or their patents or whatever it is they've purchased, not Festool. Now, it may be a case that because they own Sawstop or whatever part of it, they rebrand Sawstop as Festool. Because you've got to remember, all the cases, the plastic boxes that the Festool tools come in are actually made by Tanos, which is owned by TTS. It's a completely separate company. So there's a link there. Yeah. So that might happen. The other thing about the whole Europe, there are tools out there. The DeWalt planer, the DeWalt table saw models, the little 611 router, they're available in Europe and the UK. I can go out and buy a UK equivalent of the 611 router. Joe and I own one, and you can buy what's the little contractor saw that DeWalt have? 745 or something, is it? The one that Lynn from Derby Norval used to have. I can go buy that in the UK, but it hasn't got the long arbor. That's the difference. And there are tools in the UK that we can buy that are Festool tools that aren't available in North America.
Well, let me ask this question. Let me ask this question, because Richard, and quickly, Richard, I don't believe Festool makes a cabinet saw. Do they?
They don't make a cabinet saw. What they do, and this goes back to kind of what Joe mentioned about the technology side of it, Festool is modular. That's the whole thing with Festool. You don't just buy a tool, you buy a cog in a massive machine, and you make the machine fit whatever your requirement is. So you can take the track saw, you can have it's like a mounting plate, a bit like the way that the Triton Work Center works, where you take the top off and put a router table in, or you can put the table saw in and all the rest of it. You can have that as a module that goes onto their table.
Well, before you, my point was, I think that would be a mistake for TTS to rebrand Sawstop as Festool, because Sawstop, obviously, you're sitting in the EU, you're sitting in the UK, you're aware of that brand name. It would be a waste of that brand name for them to make it go away and all of a sudden call it Festool. That's just, I think that would just be flat out dumb.
So they could link it like they have with Tanos.
Yeah, I mean, but they could link it to where they decided to come out with the Festools. But my whole point about the whole thing is my hope is that TTS, the parent company for Festool, will actually, now that hopefully they own these patents to this technology, will make it available to manufacturers worldwide, because TTS, in case you don't know, is a worldwide company. And hopefully they will make the technology available for manufacturers around the world, so at least somebody who's going to go out and buy their first time saw can buy a saw that has this technology on it. And hopefully, and this may be pie in the sky, Mr. Everything's roses and rainbows, but hopefully it will make it affordable for people like you and I to go out and buy it when we're buying our first time saw. And because they have been more liberal about licensing the technology than the Sawstop people originally were. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but that is my hope.
It's a nice thought, but I have to be honest, I think that is pie in the sky. I think it's going to go the other way, because what you've got to remember is they've just dipped quite deeply into their piggy bank to get this stuff. They're not just going to give it away.
No, I don't expect them to give it away, but I mean, let's face it. If you look at Delta,
they're going to want to recoup that.
But hold on a second. If you look at like a company like Delta, or if you look at a company like Jet, who sells a lot of table saws across the year, and they get an income off of each one that they sell, then it's really not being, they're not giving that away then, are they? They're actually making a lot of money
out to other people.
Because they're licensing the technology out, because they're actually making more money than they ever would if they kept it to just the Sawstop brand only. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. And now granted, the Delta and the Jet may cost you a bit more, but for, whatever it is that costs you a bit more for that saw, it's probably going to be friggin' worth it if it means your finger.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think they could actually be using it as like another card in their negotiating hand? If they've got other eyes on other patents that they'd like to license, that maybe them having they can't get the foot in the door with other companies, and now them thinking, right, if we've got this technology under our belt, we can approach DeWalt, and now this patent that they've had, we'll license that off them. In return, we'll license the flesh sensing technology that we've just purchased from Sawstop. That could open up a lot of doors for Festools as well in working with other companies. If it went that way, it's got to be better for us.
Well, they already do work with other companies, actually.
I'm just thinking, if there was I'd imagine there's going to be some that they may be having trouble with. It's always good to have something else like in your arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, and there's a lot of this stuff goes on. Like one of the Festool tools is made by Fine. Fine make their kind of multi-tool, the oscillating tool, and then it's repackaged for them and then resold on. And there's a kind of a sweetener, or as a result of that anyway, you can buy the equivalent Fine tool in a sustainer box, so that it goes. So both tools will now work in both systems, if that makes sense. So there's all these sorts of things. My suspicion is, and it would, I think, make good business sense, that they actually aren't interested in Sawstop as a brand or even as a company. They are interested solely in this safety technology, because it wouldn't surprise me if they're not thinking, as Joe said, to take this flesh sausage sensing technology and put it in as part of a module into their existing tool range, because that's what Festool are actually good at. That's what they've kind of built their company on, is innovation. Yeah. Now you look at that track saw that you can buy in Aldi's and Walmart and from the DeWalt dealer and all these companies. Festool had those back in at least the early 70s, right, if not longer. Right. The track saw's not new. They've just packaged it well, and I think that's what they're doing.
All right. Well, and I don't want to. We have two guests here, because let's give them a chance to talk. Jason, Carol, do you have anything that you want to add to this?
Well, I was talking with my friends that are interested in woodworking today about the Sawstop, and you said that this is a good name for a tool in Europe. They never heard about Sawstop.
Really?
When I asked them about that flesh sensing technology, they said, "Oh yeah, Bosch doing it."
Oh no!
I heard about that saw, even though it's not available in Europe. It's only available in the States, but they hear about it. And I told them that there's a company that making better saw, cabinet saw with that technology, and they said, well, so they took it from Bosch. I said, no, they were first. They never heard about it.
That's the React system you're talking about, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
But it's not available here. I don't know if it's the law or they don't have the interest of that, because EU is very big on health and safety. So I would think that they will do it in Europe first and then go to States, because probably here all the government will go with that, and they will probably license it for every company to do it.
Right. Well, you know what? I know Jason knows a little bit about this subject, and so Jason, I mean, what do you think? I mean, because I'll lead you in, my friend, because I was thinking that the reason why this never got expanded beyond the United States and never really went beyond one brand was because Sawstop. This is the impression I had, was because that Sawstop was asking an arm and a leg from the other manufacturers to have this technology. What's your thought on that, Jay?
Well, I kind of agree with both sides of things. Like, I think both sides have the potential of happening. There's one side where they might want to sell the license out to all these companies like DeWalt and Bosch and different people. And that avenue would seem to work. But also at the same time, I can see them holding on to it real close and being the company who has that system, and already with the name Festool. Am I allowed to say the F word?
Anytime.
Yeah. and, so I can see as a company, I can see a lot of value as a company in both angles of it. And so I don't know. I'm very curious. I am very curious to see what happens here and what goes on.
Joe, edit that F word.
I'll put it doorbell. Because the other thing is, it's not just Sawstop they've bought recently. Do you know the other company they're working with? Does anyone know this? No, Shaper.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh no,
the little portable CNC gizmo.
Yeah, they bought they bought Shaper, the little handheld CNC router, right?
Yeah. Now I don't know whether they have bought the company, bought the rights in the same way that they've bought Sawstop, but there has been an announcement that the two companies are working together. And the basic what makes me laugh is every time somebody says Festool, there are always 100 people jump on the never be able to afford that now. That just makes it 10 times more expensive. And yeah, I guess there will be an element of that because they've got an established following and all the rest of it, and they're there to make money. But also, when you look at the company, when you actually sit down and take stock of what they do, they innovate, and both of those companies, Sawstop and Shaper, fit well with what Festool have kind of built. Now there are also talk of they're just trying to corner the market and be a big player and all the rest of it, and all companies want to do that at the end of the day. That's why they're companies, but they fit.
Well, but here's my homework for you. Go do your homework on who owns Black & Decker, which may be one of the cheapest tools that you can buy in the U.S. today. And then go research the parent company and find out what other tool brands they also happen to own. I can tell you right now, the company that owns Black & Decker is very diverse. They carry a very high-end product under a different name, a mid-range product under a different name, and they sell Black & Decker under a very low-end range. So if TTS is following that same model, then I don't see why something like that could not happen. Whether they decide that that is good business, we're going to find out, I suppose. But my hope is that they do decide that it's good business.
It's Stanley, isn't it?
Well, no, but that I'm not going to get into it because I'm not, whatever.
I mean, the bottom line is there are a lot of companies out there that have a lot of different brands. I mean, Ryobi, AEG, I think Rigid and AEG have got a link between North America, Europe, Ryobi with some other company, GMC and Triton, and there's like it's like Blum & Cadbury's and Nestle and all those kind of food companies. They're all the same. Somewhere there's a guy who just owns everything, I'm sure. And the only way to find him is to get the tax man involved. Follow the money.
Tool companies are like the Matrix.
Well, yeah, I mean, all big companies are the same, aren't they? I mean, I used to work in pharmaceuticals, and we were part of a massive company in the States and in Europe, and they were all under about 3 different names. And if you drilled down with all these different products, they were all marketed in different places for different things, and it all boiled down to the same family of about 5 brothers and sisters that all owned everything globally. And you're like, seriously? It's just mad. And we had like 5 companies working out of the same office that was all different, but at the same time, they were all the same. So I think it's the same in every industry, in every country, all over. I think it basically boils down to tax write-offs and splits and benefits and
exactly. Don't be alarmed if you suddenly see like reports of Sawstop losing money, like them £12 million there in this year. It's like, oh, where did Festools profits go? Did they happen to go into
yeah, that's exactly right. We'll pay less because we'll just like proper. It's Peter and Paul just robbing each other blind, left, right, and centre, because the tax man's looking over the fence. So, yeah, I don't think anyone will massively.
Well, I think we have enough. I think we have enough time to open this up. Jamie, are there any questions or any comments from the chat that we can bring into this that maybe are a perspective that we haven't addressed yet?
We actually had a comment from. I'm not sure if I had to pronounce it. I think it's Shacknell Makes. He actually made a comment about the Sawstop and Festool situation again. He says, Sawstop have said before that it would be difficult to put the tech in other tools. As for the braking force, it needs to go somewhere. A table saw is heavy enough, but nothing that Festool currently makes is.
But once you've got access to what the idea is, that's when other things take on board that the original idea people didn't look at. Like, Joe, you just made the sawhorses, right?
Yep.
How many comments have you had along the lines of, you want to change this and that'll stop that happening, and if you did that, that'll make that da-da-da-da-da, which must have been quite a few probably.
Yeah, a lot.
Which potentially you didn't think of.
Yeah, there
but
is
somebody else.
Yeah, some great ideas.
Looking at it makes the idea. So I think that's where they want to go on that one. I think they want if they know a bit more about it, then they can get their team of German engineers and sense of humour people to look at that and do their German engineering thing to look and see if they can make it work.
I'd like to see one of them break things on my scroll saw, because that blade and a half go fast.
I'd love to see you break your scroll saw as well.
I think the scroll saw, Jamie, I'm sorry to say, but the scroll saw may be the last tool that ever has that technology. If you ever cut your finger off on a scroll saw, then I'm sorry, you're just a dummy. You're just a dummy. But I mean, that's funny. But Richard, we've got like 15 minutes left. I don't know how much of this you want to get into, but I'm just hoping that TTS decides to make this technology available to other manufacturers. Whether they want to accept it or not, I suppose is up to them. I don't know the inside scoop. Who am I? I'm going off of what I know, and not what I know, but what I've heard. And what I've heard was that Sawstop at one point in time was asking an arm and a leg for this technology. And when they couldn't get the arm and a leg they were asking to sell this, they decided to go to the United States government and try to get them to make it a requirement. And the U.S. government said, no, you're not going to play that with us. And they said no. And so that's kind of why Sawstop has remained as expensive as it is. I'm hoping TTS will take the licensing technology and make the most money they can out of it. They're a good company. Why shouldn't they? But I also hope they allow other companies that serve the everyday guy make that kind of technology available and save some people's fingers and hands and all the way down the line.
Yeah, I mean, whichever way you look at it, whatever your thoughts on the companies and all the rest of it, we've actually gone from the situation where one group of people, one finite number of individuals have access to this particular technology. And now we're at a situation where those people still have access to it, but also so do some other people. So whether it's more expensive, less expensive, we're already down there are more people that have access to it. So hopefully down the line, it will start to trickle out.
Yeah, especially because the growing movement of this maker community, where we're trying to get the youth re-interested into the making process that we do. I mean, as a father and a husband of a child, I would definitely like to have that on a tool that I'm going to be training my kid on. But not every father can afford to make sure they have that kind of insurance. I think even Nick Ferry once said, because Nick has a Sawstop, and God love him, he said, you know what, I have one, but I'm never going to tell my kids that what it does, because what it does is only there for their safety. What I want to teach them is the proper way to use the tool. But if they make a mistake, I want to know that safety feature is there to save them. Yeah. And that's the way I think it should be looked at. And I just hope that becomes available for everybody. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that fear definitely keeps me on my toes. Keeps me wanting to keep my toes.
I think there's a good argument for how much the replacement brake is, because I think the cost of the brake, if they keep the price high, that's gonna be a deterrent to kicking off the sensor. You don't want to be paying that money for a new brake if you don't have to.
You got to run a hot dog through at least once, haven't you?
But you've also got it's electric current, isn't it? So you could there's people that have just hit nails and things, and that would freak me out. That would properly ruin my day if I put a board through that had a nail in it. You know, I'm being nice and safe. I've got all my fingers, blah blah blah. Cut the wood, bang. I've got to spend all that money on a new cartridge because I didn't put a nail. Yeah, if it was my finger, I'd put up with that. But if it was a nail, I would be properly.
And new trousers, you'd need.
Well, no, but you know what? And there are alternatives because of this sale and because of the lawsuit that happened between Sawstop and Bosch. Okay, because Sawstop was suing Bosch for that technology. The Bosch technology in that React saw was actually much less expensive than replacing the cartridge in a Sawstop.
Yeah, because don't you get 2 goes with the Bosch thing?
You had 2 goes with the Bosch, as opposed to 1 go with the Sawstop that would cost you like $90.
And a blade.
And a blade. Bosch was a lot cheaper, and it didn't ruin the blade. So now that they have that, and hopefully they own the patent that was preventing Bosch to bring that to the market, we can start to make things a little bit more realistic. You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
See ya.
Horse-flung dirt technique.
Oh, he's on the Audis now. But you don't drive an Audi, do you?
No. I don't drive at all. I just wanted to say that because it's German technology thing, isn't it? Technology.
Got ya. So, has anyone else got anything to add to this, or should we put this to bed? Because we're kind of 20 past the hour. No, okay, fine. So what's
actually, I did like your comment on I did like your comment on how companies do their research and start developing into their products, and so us complaining is actually doing them a favor. So when the more people are complaining, and that's how Microsoft got so good.
Yeah,
they put out a piece of crap operating system. Everybody would complain about everything, thinking, I'm smarter than Microsoft. I'll do this. I'll do this. I'll do this. Microsoft would just take that list and make it. And that's why you'd have a crappy operating system and then a really good one and then a crappy one and then a really good one, because that's what they did. It's exactly what they did.
Good point. Good point. Because as consumers, your voice is going to get heard by businesses that want to make money. Yeah. Absolutely good point.
Yeah, that's a good one. I guess the same with thumbs down and thumbs up on Facebook.
Not really, but not really. But
the point is that the companies don't necessarily care about the thumbs down, but you do still get heard. Oh, well, I don't know.
Well, if there's an adjoining post to the thumbs down that tells you about it, then yeah. But just a thumbs down with no explanation, I don't think that does you any good. It's just like somebody fishing.
You can send emojis now as well, Richard.
Oh, wicked! Oh, so my computer's just done something. I don't know what it's done. Do I click? If I click OK and disappear, I'll be back. Am I still here? I don't know. Something just came up on the Well, it freaked me out. Something about a moderated call. Anyway, right. So have we done this to death? Should we? Alan's about to have a seizure, I think.
I'm fine. Go ahead.
Go fishing again.
Alan, no wait. I just want to point out, Alan's been extremely quiet throughout this whole episode.
We should talk about this
You
more.
guys are light years ahead of me with this information. You guys just take the show, please.
He's only in here hiding from the missus. He don't want to do the washing up. That's what it is. Alan, you got to come and do the dishes.
Oh no.
Cool. So, well, I guess while we're with Alan, then, Alan, what are you watching at the moment? Are you working on anything, or are you literally just hiding?
No, I'm working on something, and it's fascinating. As far as I bought a Dremel tool, or it's not a Dremel, it's an oscillating tool, a Dremel tool. It's the same thing. And I sat there, and I did some carving, Richard. I sat there and carved the Goonies key from the movie The Goonies. It's always been like my favorite movie.
Cool.
Then I had the bright idea to sit there and try to melt solder into it, and it's starting to look really cool. I just hope it stays in there when I'm sanding it flat. So I'm still waiting to see how that turns out. That's going to be cool. But I do have a shout out. I found another new channel through our new group. I've made a few really good friends over there now. It's Frank McCain, is it? Frank McCain. 20-something subscribers, maybe only a couple videos. Super awesome guy. Go check him out. He's super nice.
Wow,
Welcome him with open arms.
Oh, let's. All right, yeah, you got
So,
it,
see,
man. What's his name? I'm sorry, Richard. What's his name again, Alan? Frank
That's,
McCain.
Frank McCain, you got her.
Little C,
All right.
big C.
All right.
I gotta go check him out. Awesome. Thank you.
That's showing favouritism there, Alan, when you're saying welcome him with open arms. The whole point is we welcome everyone with open arms.
Absolutely.
No, there's no
That's me
favour.
again.
Awesome.
No, that's pretty awesome. I'll tell you what, let's mix things up a minute because poor old Carol and Jason have been sort of a little bit left out, and that wasn't the intention because everyone's welcome. Carol, what are you working on, and who have you been watching on the YouTubes? Anyone in particular?
I'm working on redoing my living room, so it's quite a big job probably for whole summer. Basically from floor, everything, built-in walls, similar to what Bob is making on, and he's putting on Instagram as well. So cabinets, all made from pallet wood probably, and then shelves that look like apple boxes, something like that, chimney that it's not the real chimney, but it's gonna look like it, and lots of messing about. All first time we'll be laying a floor, first time in my life, so lots of new things.
Give you some advice on the.
I won't be making a video of it because it probably won't a long time, but I started to favor Instagram instead of YouTube. I don't know. I really like it, so probably will be some posting over there. But for my video, I'll probably be making. I got a bar of 2,400 years old pure bog oak.
Cool.
And,
oh wow.
Yeah, so it's 227 BC.
You didn't plan that one, did you, Chris?
Sorry.
Yeah. Actually, I knew I lost that somewhere. So congratulations.
Yeah, I'll be making a pen out of it for a CEO of the company that's selling it.
I've just got an image now of Chris in a pair of little grey shorts with a little grey blazer and a cap with a conker fight in the playground.
Jamie, I'm sure you could whip that up.
Oh my God! Well, Carol, pardon me, but I believe Jason, you had some advice for Carol. You were going to say something.
I was just going to say, I installed floors for the first time a couple years ago, actually now it's been a few more than a couple years, but anyway, and I didn't use knee pads, and I'm telling you, use knee pads.
Yes, he's right.
Oh my God!
Invest.
Invest in good ones.
Yeah, I will. As a video, well, this is Makers International, so I'm gonna plug a channel of a Polish YouTuber. It's called Kępa Marzeń. You probably won't get it, but I send the link to the video to Chris, so he'll put it in the notes. Basically, last video he made a Grand Canyon coffee table. He took a huge lump of wood that was it was already old, and because of the time and probably some disease, it was hollow out inside. And most of people gonna throw it and burn it, and he make it as a feature. So he made a huge router planing jig to make it level. He's done some feet, and he put a light from the bottom, so he light up the inside of. So what was the defect is now the feature, and put a nice glass table on top, so you can see the lovely wood, and it's amazing job. And if you skip the intro and outro, all is self-explanatory. You don't need to, understand Polish to know.
No. Carol, I actually watched that video when you sent it to me because I was intrigued. And, he doesn't talk in that entire video. So it doesn't matter whether you're Polish, English, I don't care, Japanese, whatever. You can watch that video and appreciate that because that's really cool. Because he took a piece that was basically, it was rotted in the middle. Right, the middle of this tree stump slab that he had was gone, and he mounted a light in the middle of it, put a glass top table over. It was friggin' fantastic. Yeah. And like Carol said, if you're interested, the link will be in the description. So check it out.
That's a really cool idea. I saw the thumbnail for that in my feed as I was scrolling down, and I saw the picture of it, and then obviously the name Grand Canyon table, and I thought, that looks cool, and scrolled on past, and I completely forgot about it until you said Grand Canyon. I was like, yes, I know that. I haven't watched the video. I know the one you mean. That's. I'll have to put that in my watch later. Yeah, I'll do it now.
What about you, Jason?
I'm busy. I just got finished a craft fair actually. So all week long, I've been making these barbecue grill scrapers, Canada 150 editions. And it's actually quite a simple idea. It's just like a miter on the end, and you heat up your grill, and you clean your grill with it, and it shapes to your grill from the heat. As opposed to using the metal ones. The metal ones recently have been in the news of people swallowing the metal shards off of it, and that's not good for you, whatever.
No, I hear you.
But yeah, the part I like about that though is these little things that are going by the market that are like little niche things. People are just like little craze things, and I've been kind of watching those lately. And so as soon as like those little craze things, like the spinners and things like that, I'll just make a design and pop them out, and they've been selling pretty good. Who I've been watching, Alex Steele, and probably heard of him, but wow, he's made a sword lately, and he just came out with his last one where he finished the sword. Not even just hit the quality of work that he does, but how he talks to his audience, how he does everything. Like, to me, it's awesome. Like every day, I haven't been that excited for a YouTube video YouTube channel in a long time. Like where I'm like, okay, I want to see what's happening next. And biggest part I love about him is how he's always like, this is fantastic. This is great. I love this. This is perfect, brilliant. I love it. And he's just constantly upbeat and going. And I don't know where he gets the energy, but wow. Love it.
Now you got to do it. You got to do it in his accent now.
I was going to say, is he Canadian? And you know what? For the people who are watching this right now, and for the people who are going to be listening to this on Wednesday, I just want to say Happy Canada Day, a belated Happy Canada Day to you, Alan, and to you, Jamie.
Thank you.
And well, if you don't mind, then to my fellow Americans, because we're kind of on the 4th of July weekend, I want to say a happy 4th of July weekend to you, because that 4th of July is coming up. But if you're listening to this on Wednesday, it's already happened. So I hope you had a good, happy 4th of July. And to my British friends here, as Joe so eloquently put it last year, he said happy. Joe said happy Traitors Day to everybody.
Happy Treason Day, you ungrateful colonials.
Which I thought was great. But you know what? In retrospect, I kind of feel bad because the first week in July has obviously been a tough one for the Brits. So I hope you have a good one.
That's cool. Now, Jenny, I fully support the 4th of July, Canada Day, and all that. I find it kind of intriguing, to be honest. the two countries that are, younger than a lot of British people's clothes, it has to be said, make such a big deal about the age of their country and all the. I think it's brilliant. It's absolutely wonderful. We forgot in most of Europe forgot how old it was generations ago. But you guys, you hang on to that and keep it, because otherwise you'll lose it like we have.
Well, we just use it for an excuse to take the day off and drink beer.
Yeah.
And that's all you need.
The old rule, the older you get, the less you want to talk about your age. So
that's probably true.
That's true.
Yeah. Do you know what, I was having exactly that conversation with my daughter, who's 9, today.
Especially if you're still wearing Richard, if you're still wearing the clothes from when England became a country, then brother, I mean, let me know. I mean, I'll set up a GoFundMe or something. Holy crap.
Awesome. What are you working on, Chris?
I'm working on I mentioned in my last video that I'll be working on a project, so I'm trying to put that together. So yeah, I'll have something out on Thursday. I'm not quite sure what, but my shout out, there were so many cool videos this week, and I think a couple of them deserve a nod before I give my main shout out. Tim Sway put out an awesome video, timely manner for the American holiday we're having for 4th of July. So if you have a chance to go check out Tim Sway, please go do that. Laura Kampf also put out a great video. Bill Lutz put out a killer video. But my main shout out goes today to my buddy Joe Whitaker, only because that saw, and hey, look, I'm not playing favorites, because if his video had sucked, I wouldn't bring it up. I would just be quiet about it. But the design that he came up with for that sawhorse was absolutely brilliant. So Joe, props to you. If you have a chance and you haven't seen it yet, go check out Joe Whitaker's sawhorse design on YouTube. The link again will be down in the description, because it's like, it's one of those things where I kind of hit myself in the head and go, why did I think about that? It was that was good stuff, Joe. So props to you,
Cheers,
buddy.
mate.
He's also just crossed 10,000 subscribers.
Bam!
And that's and you know what? And because he thinks like that, that's probably why. So good on you, buddy.
Cheers. Thank you.
There you go.
He doesn't know what to say now, does he? Bless him.
I don't take praise well.
Yeah, because you see, he wasn't going to be nice to me when I put my video out. Well, but so he's freaking out because I'm being all right. Whatever, go.
You just edit it out.
Yeah, that's it.
They forgot about me.
Don't worry, Jamie. It's happened to me a few episodes.
We didn't forget. We just washed over.
We didn't forget. Joe just edited out.
Yeah.
So what are you working on apart from this? I mean, if no one's sort of seen the sawhorse thing, then they really need to go and do that. I think I'm going to be making some of those before you end up marketing that. just to get in there, because otherwise I'll get told off. I have to do it now before it gets to, like, legal wranglings and all the rest of it. But apart from that, what are you working on, Joe?
Well, since I got the beds delivered, I've been making the underbed storage for them, because the kids were sleeping on mattresses in the bedroom. So I was like, get the beds out as soon as they're ready, and I'll work on the storage after. So that's basically what I've been doing. I've been making drawers to go under the bed. That's about it. So nothing exciting. But I've had a chance to watch some YouTube. My shout out this week is from Bob at Plowstone Crafts. So there'll be a link in the description wherever you're listening or watching this. And he put out a video recently making some garden hurdles. But what really stood out with the video for me was he was making it with his niece. And it's just great to see, getting the younger generation involved. He shows her, talking her through what to do, how to use the saw properly and everything. It's really inspiring, and it makes you want to bring in the next generation, pass on the skills, let them learn the craft and keep this going. It's a really good video. I really enjoyed it. So make sure you check it out.
Yeah. See, Bob and I don't really get on, if I'm honest. Have you seen his Celtic knot pens?
The magic.
They're a little bit too magic. If anyone doesn't know the story, I badgered him for about 2 years to put out a video for his Celtic knots on his pens, and he did. And I tried to make and it just went completely wrong. It looked like Oh, it was horrible. So as a result of that, now Bob, at every opportunity, posts these awesome Celtic knot pens. Every time he makes one, tags me in it, and it completes. So we don't get on really particularly well over that. But he is such a nice guy. He really is.
Wait a minute. Let's not leave people the wrong impression. You guys get along just fine. Just shut up.
Just kind of keeping the thing going.
I mean, why? Come on.
Well, 'cause it's a bit of fun, isn't it?
Well, as long as people know that. But yeah, anyway. All right, go ahead.
Bob and I know that. That's the main thing.
I'm going to have to make a Celtic knot pen now.
Yeah, I thought that you might next be jumping on the bandwagon there, Jamie. That's not what you're making this week, is it?
I think I'm going to have to. I've just bought something here. Multicoloured Celtic knot.
Excellent. You guys just play out the rope and I will eventually hang myself with it. That's fine. Cool. So you're not actually making a Celtic knot pen, are you?
Oh, look what Carol's got.
Oh, he hasn't. No, good. See?
Carol, podcast, man. This may not be seen, okay? This is only heard. Jamie, what are you working on? Who are you watching? Come on.
What am I working on? Well, I made my first off-center piece thing today. No, not today. Yesterday, or the day before. I can't remember. I made it.
So recently?
Yeah, recently. It was kind of a test for my lathe because I had to catch it when I first turned my lathe on. From my lathe wanted to bounce off the bench, so I had to catch it. Then I've been...
What, the lathe?
Yeah, the lathe. Because the wood was... Cause when I first bolted it to the lathe off-centre, I turned the lathe on. I forgot to turn it down. So and the lathe jumped off of the bench. So, yeah, that was a lot of fun.
I can imagine.
So I'm still practicing making some spheres. What am I watching? Like Chris said, there was a lot of good videos out and about this week. But I'm actually my shout out this week is actually gonna be Charles Deering. Charles Deering helped me out a lot with regards to my skull saw portrait that I've done of Nick Zametti. So I thought it was only right just to give him a little bit of a shout out, just to say thanks.
Oh, Charles is a good fella, so good for you.
So awesome. Charles Deering.
Magic. That was a pretty awesome. I know I give you so much stick, and actually I was giving Charlie stick on the Facebook, one of the Facebook groups about scroll saws and all the rest of it. But that was pretty awesome, I have to say. Yeah,
it certainly took a lot of time. So,
what do you reckon, Alan? About 15 years?
Yeah, at least.
Close. It certainly felt like it.
Whenever I turn the scroll saw, it just, for me, everything just slows down. It's like the blade's going on. And,
well, that's how a scroll saw works.
But in real time, I'm talking.
It's a lot like when we get towards the end of the podcast, everything just slows down.
Thank you, Joe. Have I forgotten anybody? That's everyone, isn't it? Because I've been not working on a huge amount, really, to be honest.
Well, we can skip you this week. Go ahead.
Pretty much. From what I'm working on, that's not bad, but we can't skip my shout out this week. We really must. Do you remember Nicola was on the show? What seems like?
Yeah, absolutely. Are you kidding? She was our first guest. She's the first guest we had on the podcast. Absolutely. I love Nicola.
She's the first person that Chris asked boxers or briefs to.
That's right, I did. I forgot. That's where that came from, isn't it?
God. Kind of regret that now.
Yeah, I kind of do.
Anyway, Nicola has, not only is she been a judge on various things, she won the prize and all the rest of it. She's off to Swaziland soon to teach people woodworking. But she's actually started a YouTube channel recently. She just put her second video out. I saw it. It literally just popped up. I think it had like 4 views. And It's about, the first one was how to use a handsaw. The second one is about which rule plugs and screw sizes to pick for different applications around the house and doing that. You guys in North America probably won't know because drywall. This is for drilling into brickwork and real, proper construction materials.
Real, as opposed to what we do, which is fake, right?
Timber.
That is, adjust your tone, Richard. Go ahead. Anyway.
Dude, we've got buildings built out of brick and stone in this country that are older than your country. You can't knock that method of construction.
Can we get some
I'm just going to leave it there. Yeah.
No, I can, but I won't because it's not time. Move on. Go ahead.
I'm wondering, did Chris emigrate to America then?
I wonder why so many British and Irish have come over here. Then I'm just curious. Whatever. But if it's so good, but if it's so great, then you stay right where you are, buddy.
Anyway, then she's also doing a giveaway. That was kind of my point. So she's done this video. It's an instructional. It's in depth. It's well put together. And she's doing a giveaway. Second video on her channel, and she's already dealing with a company doing a giveaway. That says pretty much everything that needs to be said. Go and watch the video, comment on the video, and that I think is all you need to do to enter to get this giveaway pack that she's giving away. It's a UK only, I believe, but regardless of where you are, get over there and show us some support because she is really nice individual. I think that's pretty much that. Where can everyone be found? Let's do our guests first. Carol, where can everyone find you as an individual on the interweb?
The easiest way to go to the website kkmay.uk, and you can find the links to all my social media.
Christy, by the sounds of it, you'll be doing a lot on Instagram.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Jason, what about yourself, mate?
Actually, I've been loving the Instagram lately. Mostly because I can avoid being with Chris.
Oh, what did I do?
I'm just kidding. Totally joking. But you can find me on Instagram. Actually, I've been using it a lot lately to my in-between projects. I've been having a hard time getting time for YouTube videos. So just my progress through things, I've been posting pictures in there. That's McGinn's Woodshop, MCGINN Woodshop. So you search that in YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and you'll find me.
Awesome. Chris, bless him. This is your chance to have a little retort now on Jason.
No, I'm not gonna speak to that level. I will just say I'm not on Instagram unless you want to look for me. Then I guess I am there, but don't post anything. Chris Cute, Facebook, YouTube, bingo, done. Move on.
Excellent, Jamie.
You can find me on YouTube at JP Woodwork, Twitter and Instagram at JP_Woodwork. And you can also find us at makersinternationalpodcast.com and notmakerscentral.co.uk.
Yeah, we won't be on makerscentral.co.uk, not for a little while.
That is still a very good website to go and check out.
For sure. And don't confuse it with .com, because it's not that. Alan, what about you, mate? Where can everyone find you?
Oh, easy enough. Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube under the Woodworking Junkie.
Excellent. Joe?
Average Joe's Joinery on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Average Joe's Photography on Instagram.
Brilliant. So make sure you go and check out everyone if you are still listening, presumably and hopefully you are. The guys are putting out some good stuff and there's all manner of things to find out about. So I have been Rick Morley. You can find me at brainfizz.uk and under my name on YouTube. Once again, Carol, Jason, thanks for coming on and kind of putting your head above the parapet, so to speak. And we look forward to working with you, next to you, alongside you with the Facebook group. Apart from everyone else, you all take care.
Have a good week, everybody.
See you next week.
Have a week.
Take care.
Bye.